together for 5 kids, you know. So yeah, no, pleasure to have them anytime. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I was hoping we could see the end of that game, but
Yeah, it was close, really close game. They played really well. It just, you know, it's one of those games. It's whoever scores last, they win. You know, it's back and forth the whole time. They have them doing drills or what?
They have to play one drill.
Really?
Because we're over the number of games we can play. That's why they're both listed as practice.
Huh. So, Brainerd SQ A at Mound-Westonka. As a practice, quote unquote. After that, I think they're gonna quote unquote scrimmage. For the remainder of the practice. Like they're doing a 2-on-1 drill.
Schedule this if we have to call it a practice and do these scrimmage bullshits. Like on a Sunday night.
Yeah. Okay, looks like we're about ready to start here. They got 20 minutes on the clock. I assume that means they're going to do 2 20-minute halves. Nice facility they have here. Looks like we're going to start with Marsh on center with Potman Stewart on wing and Wheezy Paskey on D. There's the puck drop. Marsh wins the face-off. And puck dumped into the Mounds territory by Paskey. Paskey over to Stewart. Stewart with a shot on goal. Puck in the Mounds territory. Potvin trying to tie him up on the wall to Marsh. Marsh back to Potvin. Potvin marches towards the net. Shot through the slot there. Stewart tying it up on the right side wall now. Stewart comes away with it, spins back towards the boards, gets tied up. Out to Wheezy at the point. Wheezy, shot, deflected, and save up behind the net. Marsh. No. Stewart digging it out. Mounds comes away with it. And turn it over to Wheezy. Wheezy to Paskey. Paskey up the middle of Potvin. Potvin poked off his stick as he crosses the blue line into the Mounds zone. Out to Marsh. Marsh shot on goal, batted down by the Mounds goalie and into the left corner. Potvin. The forward check. Potvin turns back. Stewart. Stewart over to Marsh. Marsh tips it on goal. Goalie sweeps it behind the goal line. And puck into the left corner. Marsh with a shot from the sidelines by Dahlheimer. Intercepted by Mounds View. And they head down ice. It's tipped deep into the Brainerd zone. Picked up by Norris. Norris over to Thompson. Thompson back the other way. Norris. Mounds with the puck, centering pass, tied up front by Thompson. And here comes Henson. Henson center ice to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer cuts towards the middle. Dahlheimer shot on goal, loose puck up front, and rebound is covered just in the nick of time by the Mounds goalie. like they're going to do running clock as well. Bible on the face-off. Henson, Dahlheimer on wing. Thompson, Norris on D. Bible over to Henson's side, but he's tied up. Mounds controls the puck off the face-off. Over to the far side corner. Dahlheimer with a poke. Mounds able to clear it out into the neutral zone. Pass cross zone picked up by their center. Henson with a poke check steals the puck away. Norris sends it up the wall to Dahlheimer in the neutral zone. Dahlheimer in on the left side. Pass over to Henson. Henson, what? I don't know why he didn't shoot that. And there you go. Shot on goal by Henson, covered for a whistle. Face off in the Mounds territory. Sweet on center with Bates and McDonald on wing, Weezy and Paskey on D. Sweet over to McDonald, intercepted by Mounds. They head down ice. In on the right side, Paskey angling him to the boards. They have to cut short. McDonald there to tie it up. Sweet push up the boards. Mounds D and dumps it towards the slot. Pops out to their left wing. He gets a shot off, goes up over the net, and out to the right D. Over to the left side. Back out to the left D. Walks the line a little bit, but he's chased down by Bates. Over to the right D and dumped into the right corner. McDonald steals it away. Paskey picks it up. Off his stick. Mounds turns back towards the Brainerd net. And loose puck picked up by Bates. Bates out to the point. Mounds keeps it in. They cut towards the net. Shot on goal. Saved by Churl. Thompson, or Weezy, sends it up the wall. There goes Sweet. Sweet out of the Brainerd territory. Through center ice. In up the middle. Backhands it on goal. It's stopped and covered for a whistle. Marsh back out now, or Popman and Stewart. Mounds. This pass picked up by Thompson, center ice. Stewart in on the right side. Skates down the wall, loses control of the puck, turns it over to Mounds. Mounds sends it back up the near side wall and out to neutral zone. Thompson on him, centering pass intercepted by Popman. Popman up to Marsh. Marsh backhands it back to Popman. Popman and Stewart in across the blue line. Stewart up the middle. Pass to Stewart. It bounces off his stick. Sends it up to the point to Thompson. Thompson loses the puck and rounds with the breakaway. And their shot goes far wide and covered for a whistle with a rebound off the backboards by Terrell. Face off in the Brainerd zone, left wing circle. Bible with Dahlheimer Henson. Bible wins it to Paskey. Paskey tries to get it out to neutral zone. Cut short. Weezy steals it away and heads down ice. Weezy in across the blue line, poked off his stick. Puck trickles down deep into the Mounds zone. Mounds out to center ice now. Into the Brainerd zone on the right side. Poke checked by Paskey. Steals the puck away. Paskey heads back the other way. He's got Dahlheimer with him. Paskey shot goes wide to the right. Paskey. Mounds skates out of their own zone now. Into the neutral zone on the far side. Pass to the center. Dahlheimer with a poke check. Sends the puck back out to neutral zone. Mounds has to circle the neutral zone. Henson with the pressure. Mounds has to dump it in. Paskey picks it up. Back to Henson. Shot from the left D by Mounds View is covered for Churl for a whistle. Face off in the Brainerd zone, left wing circle. Sweet with McDonald and Bates. Mounds View wins the face off. Out to the right D. Shot from the middle. Hits traffic. Bates picks up the rebound. Skates out to neutral zone. It's tied up on the boards. Puck sent back the other way. Thompson stops short of the Brainerd zone. Back to Bates. Bates in on the right side. Bates shot. Save. Rebound. Loose. And Mounds sweeps it out to the left corner. McDonald sends it up the wall to Norris. Norris up the middle. Deeks. Shot. Doesn't get much on it. Tries to spin around. And Norris scores on his own rebound with a spin around behind the net. And stuffs it in the right side corner. Brainerd on the board first. 1-0. Sweet on the faceoff again. Center ice. Mounds comes away with it. Shot deflected high up over the net. Thompson scoots it up the wall towards Bates, but it's tied up. Bates and Sweet whacking at it on the wall in the Brainerd zone. Thompson comes away with it, pushes it out across the blue line, but turns it over to Mounds. Mounds tips it across the blue line. Norris sends it back out. McDonald pokes it forward, and Mounds with it. Paskey drops it to Wheezy. Wheezy tries to send it out to neutral zone. It hits the skate, turned over to Mounds. Mounds, centering pass, guy up front, shot, save by Churl. Robs them of that goal. 10-12 left in the first half, I guess. Face off in the Brainerd zone. Left wing circle. Marsh with Potvin Stewart. Wheezy and Paskey on D. Potvin pokes it forward across the blue line out to center ice. Bounds controlling the puck. They dump it back in to Paskey. Paskey off the wall. They steal it away from Paskey. Shot off the side of the net. Ends up behind the net. Paskey picks it up out to Stewart. Stewart out across the blue line. Heads down ice, in on the right side into the Mounds territory. Cuts towards the center. Paskey or Stewart shot on goal. Rebound picked up by Marsh. Marsh centering pass intercepted. Mounds tries to clear it out. Shot just wide by Paskey. Ends up in the right corner. Marsh tries to pick it up, but Mounds comes away with it. They send it down ice. Picked up by Paskey before the icing call. Paskey up the boards to Stewart, but a penalty coming up on Mounds as they trip down easy. Brainerd with a power play. Trying to get one of the Mounds players off the ice for a 5-on-4 for Brainerd for a couple minutes, I guess. Nobody's really running the clock, so no penalties listed on the board. Face off in the Mounds territory. Dumped into the corner. They tried to scoot it up the wall. Stolen away by Stewart. Heads towards the net. Loses it. Drops it to Potvin. Potvin shot on goal. Pad save by Mounds goalie. Puck sent out to the point. Kept in by Paskey. And tipped across the blue line by a Mounds player. Marsh heads in, but Potvin's still off sides. Face-off in the neutral zone. Henson taken down. Loose puck chipped up along the wall for Dahlheimer. Into the Mounds territory. Henson picks up the loose puck, backhands it towards the slot, and goes wide. Easy in the corner. He's tied up. And hook out to neutral zone. Try this Bible. Henson chasing down the Mounds player as they try to skate down with a shot, but Henson had him tied up. Bible heads down ice. Bible through the neutral zone, in on the right side. He's got Dahlheimer over on his left. Not able to get the pass off as he's tied up. Mounds heads back the other way through the neutral zone. In on the left side. Poke check by Thompson. Disrupts their play. Thompson ties him up down low. Loose puck. Picked up by the other Mounds player. And circle out towards the front. Puck deflected out to center ice by Dahlheimer as he heads down ice. He's got Henson on his right. And Dahlheimer knocked down. Puck stolen away from him. Mounds with it now. Mounds out to center ice. Mounds in across the blue line. Paskey there along with Weezy. He circles, drops it to his center coming up the middle, but nothing on it. And Weezy puts the puck down low, sends it up to the near side. Bates picks it up off the wall, heads out of the Brainerd zone, knocked off the puck. Puck into the Mounds territory. Bates dumps it towards the goal, but it's picked up by a Mounds player. McDonald. Sweet. Mounds sends it to the left corner. Back to the other side, intercepted by Bates, and he's tied up, not able to get a shot off. Mounds player picks up the puck, heads down ice, through center ice. Paskey chases him down. Mounds player still with the puck. Paskey on him. Shot on goal, deflected wide by Churl, picked up by Potvin. Potvin heads down ice. Potvin, Bates, Sweet, Potvin in across the blue line, cuts towards the net and loses control of the puck, turns it over to Mounds. Mounds heads back the other way, center ice. Across the blue line, and they decide to dump it in deep. Thompson picks up the puck off the wall to Potvin. Potvin not able to scoop it forward. Mounds sends it in deep, picked up by Thompson. Thompson heads back up the near side. Across the neutral zone to Potvin, tips it in to the Mounds zone and goes after it. Potvin tries to center it, but it goes behind the net, comes up to the near side wall. Thompson ties it up. Marsh there with him. Puck pops out, goes behind the net. Mounds controlling out to neutral zone, over to their left wing, batted down by Stewart. Mounds, center Brainerd zone, try to flick it on net, but it goes wide. Picked up by Potvin. Potvin backhands it towards Norris, but Mounds gets the shot off again. Shot goes wide. Up out at the left point. Mounds skates up the middle, shot off the side of the net, ends up behind the net. Thompson and Marsh tying it up. Mounds with the puck out to their left D. Winds up, shot, blocked by Marsh. It still ends up on goal. And scooped up by Churl for a whistle. 3:40 on the clock for the first half. Bible over to Weezy. Henson pokes it forward. Weezy out to neutral zone. Turned over to Mounds. Mounds in across the blue line on the left side. Passed over to the right side. Pass through the slot, ends up on the near side. Henson ties him up on the boards. Scooped up by Sweet. Poked off Sweet's stick. Bible. I'm sorry, Paskey. Bible. Pass out front, shot on goal, stick save by Churl, and covers it for a whistle. Sweet on the face-off. Out to the right D. They shoot, and it's deflected into the left corner. Sweet sends it up the boards. Mounds, left East, walks the line down to the right wing. Shot on goal, held for a whistle by Quentin Churl. 2:13 for the running clock. Sweet. McDonald Bates with Norris and Thompson. Sweet. Over to Norris. Norris scoots it up the wall. Shot from the right D. Deflected behind the net by Churl. Thompson pokes it forward. Kept in by Mounds. They deke around Sweet up the middle. Poke check by Thompson. Mounds still controlling the puck. Shot through the slot. Thompson in the corner. Pokes it forward. Sweet picks it up. Sweet. Over to McDonald on the left side. McDonald hooked off his stick at the red line. Mound heads back into the Brainerd zone. Up the middle. Past Thompson. Shot goes wide. Thompson up the boards. Mound's left defenseman fumbles the puck. And here goes Marsh along with Potvin. Potvin stuffs it in. Brainerd 2-0. 50 seconds on the clock counting down. Marsh, Potvin, Stewart with Paskey and Lizzie. Center face-off. Puck center ice still. Potvin swoops in. Mounds picks it up. Skates across the blue line. Cuts to the right. And stolen away by Paskey. Paskey up the wall for Stewart. Stewart tips it forward into the neutral zone. That's the buzzer. End of first half. Center face-off for the second half of the game. Marsh, Potvin, Stewart. Easy Paskey on D. Marsh. Just Stewart across the blue line. His shot gets deflected. Potvin tying it up in the corner. Mounds comes away with it. They send it out to neutral zone. Paskey picks up the loose puck. Paskey out of the Brainerd zone, up the wall to Potvin. Potvin in on the left side, trying to control it. Centering pass intercepted by Mounds. Center ice, Mounds. Paskey with a poke check. Mounds dumps it in. Wheezy back for it. Wheezy. To Stewart. Stewart up the middle to Potvin, center ice. Potvin. Poked off his stick. Mound sends it out to the point. Kept in briefly by Stewart, but turned over to Mounds. They send it down ice. Wheezy down behind the net. Over to Paskey. Paskey up the near side to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer passes it up the middle. It's nobody there. Turns it over to Mounds. Mounds trying to head back the other way. Hits a skate. Stewart steals it. Stewart up front to Bible. Bible on goal. Stick save by Mounds. Mounds sends it up the wall. Kept in by Thompson. Sends it down the wall. Stewart tied up. Pokes it out to Bible. Bible behind the net. Tries to pass it out front. And pops all the way out to Thompson. Thompson shot. Stick save and covered for a whistle by Mounds goalie. Face off in the Mounds zone. Bible to Henson. Henson, his shot is stopped, and Mounds picks up the loose puck out to neutral zone, into the Brainerd zone on the left side. They cut towards the middle, drop it down to their right wing down low. Spins off of Norris, and Norris gets a stick on it and heads on down ice. Norris passes it forward towards Dahlheimer. It's intercepted. Henson steals it away, sends it up the middle to Dahlheimer. Missed pass, ends up down ice for an icing on Brainerd. Face off in the Brainerd zone, puck out front, high slot, shot on goal, stick save. That's covered by Churl for a whistle. Face off in the Brainerd zone, Sweet. Over to the middle, picked up by McDonald. He's knocked down. McDonald shuffles it forward. Bates to McDonald. McDonald in on the right side, carries it down low. McDonald look for someone out front. Paskey shot on goal, loose, tipped out front by Bates, and then picked up by Mounds as they head back down ice. Mounds in across the blue line on the left side, angled wide by Wheezy. Pass out front, off a skate, picked up by Bates. Bates heads back the other way. Bates over to McDonald across the blue line. Bates cuts up the McDonald up the middle, shot on goal, pad save, rebound, picked up by Bates. Bates dumps it in deep behind the net. McDonald in after it. Mound sends it to the far side corner and up the wall. Stolen away by Stewart. Stewart cuts towards the net, poked off his stick. Over to Paskey. Paskey chips it down low. Picked up by Potvin. Potvin circles the zone, heads towards the net, passes it to Marsh. Marsh shot on goal, pad save, rebound, picked up by Mounds, and passed out to the neutral zone. Mounds in on the left side, chased down by Potvin, swept off their stick by Wheezy, and picked up by Paskey. Paskey tries to get to center ice where Potvin was loose. And a whistle for I don't know what. Face off in the neutral zone. Marsh. Potvin Stewart. Marsh. Mounds wins the face off. They tip it across the blue line and the hands of Thompson. Thompson tries to spin away and gets tied up. Steals it back, sends it up the wall for Stewart, but Mounds trips it back in. Thompson picks it up and scoops it down nice into the Mounds territory. They send it back up the wall. Picked up by Stewart. Stewart throws it towards the net. Loose out front. Potvin. Oh, Potvin almost got it in the net there. Norris walks it down the wall towards the net. Thompson walks up middle. Thompson shot deflected and loose into the center of the zone. Mound shoots it away and skates out center ice. Puck trickles down ice into the Brainerd zone. Norris picks it up. Marsh up the middle to Potvin. Potvin across the blue line, heads over to the left. Passes over to Stewart. Stewart backhand off the post. Stewart on the rebound out to Marsh. To Potvin down low. Up deflected. Picked up by Stewart. Stewart spins away, sends it back the other way into the right corner. Potvin picks it up. Potvin cuts up the middle. He's tied up, stolen away by Mounds. Paskey races back. Paskey and Weezy back 2-on-2. Over to the left wing. Mounds shot on goal. Batted down by Churl, and Paskey picks up the rebound and heads back the other way off the wall to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer over to Marsh, and Marsh chips it, but just wide of the net. Over to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer shot and scored from the bottom of the right wing circle. Puts Brainerd up 3-0. .34 left in the game. Bible on the face-off. Henson over to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer across the blue line. Cuts down the wall. It's tied up. It's still staying with the puck. Dahlheimer tying it up on the wall. Backhands it towards the slot. Nobody gets a stick on it. Turned over to Mounds. Mounds out to center ice. Paskey steals it away as they cross the blue line. Paskey down behind the Brainerd net. Beats around one, defender two, sends it up the wall to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer through neutral zone. And Henson's off sides as they enter the Mounds zone. Face off in the neutral zone. Sweet. McDonald and Bates. Sweet tips it across the blue line, turns it over to Mounds. Mounds sends it back out to the neutral zone. Picked up by Norris in the Brainerd zone. Off the wall into the neutral zone. Mounds sends it back in deep. Thompson races in for it, steals it away. Sends it up the far side wall. Bates tips it out to neutral zone. Picked up by Mounds. Mounds tries to head back the other way. It's intercepted by Norris as Norris heads down ice. Goes off a skate before they enter the zone. Brainerd off sides. 10:44 on the clock. Sweet on the faceoff. Mounds wins it. Over to the far side, and they head down ice. Fan on the puck. McDonald picks up the loose puck in the neutral zone, loses an edge. Norris steals it in the neutral zone, sends it to the far side, across the blue line, deep into the Mounds zone. Mounds players passing it back and forth behind the goal line. Sweet steps up. Tips it towards McDonald. And Bates in the corner. Turns to go towards the net, but poked off his stick. Turned over to Mounds. Mounds heads down ice. Up the middle. Norris races back. Nice defense by Sam Norris. Ties him up, but not able to get a shot off. Puck into the right corner. Stolen away by Norris. Norris up the far wall to Stewart. Poked off his stick. Norris pokes it across the blue line and through the neutral zone. Mounds sends it back out to the red line. Tied up by Norris and Marsh. Sent back into the Mound zone. Stewart up front to Potvin. And Potvin got a shot off just as the goalie tried to cover it. And play was whistled dead simultaneously. Mounds player is not too happy with Potvin taking that shot, but there was no whistle at that point. Marsh on the faceoff in the Mound zone, right wing circle. Potvin, Stewart, Paskey and Weezy. Stewart drops it to Weezy. Weezy steps up over to Paskey. Paskey shot deflected tipped in by Marsh. Nice tip by Marsh there. Brainerd up 4-0. 8 minutes on the clock. And Bible on the faceoff. Dahlheimer, Henson on wing. Dahlheimer tips it to Henson. Henson forward to Bible. Still intercepted. Mounds heads back the other way. In across the blue line. They angle towards the right. Stop short just inside the blue line. And then send it back out to neutral zone. Henson pressuring, but Mounds in on the left side. Shot on goal. Pad save by Turo. Rebound pops out to the right circle. Picked up by Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer tries to get up the wall to Henson, but it's intercepted. Mounds heads towards the net. They lose control of the puck. Picked up by Paskey. Paskey to Henson. Henson up the wall. Dahlheimer center ice. Dahlheimer loses the puck into the Mound zone. And Mounds able to turn it back the other way. Mounds over to the left side. In on the across the blue line. The Brainerd zone dropped. Picked up by Henson. Henson across the blue line. Into the neutral zone. He's knocked down. Potvin there. Tips it to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer. Shot. Glove save by Mounds goalie. Sorry, that wasn't Potvin. That's Bible. Puck held by the Mounds goalie for a whistle. Brainerd line change. We got Sweet, McDonald, Bates back out with Norris and Thompson. Sweet on the faceoff. Left wing circle. Out to Thompson. Mounds steps up, steals it away. And Brainerd gets it back. Sweet up the middle. Shot. Deflected up over the net by the goalie. Up behind the net. Mounds comes away with it. Up to the near side wall. Out across the blue line. But Norris there to steal it away. Norris in across the blue line on the left side. Heads towards the net. Passes across the slot to Bates, but he's tied up, and Mounds comes away with it. Sweet trying to chase him down, loses an edge. Mounds in on the left side. Pass across the Brainerd zone to the right side. Missed pass ends up in the right corner. Norris over there to tie him up. Along with Sweet and McDonald. McDonald comes away with the puck. McDonald tripped. And that's going to be a tripping penalty on Mounds. Brainerd back on the power play. Sweet, McDonald, Bates with Norris and Thompson for the power play. Sweet. Mounds comes away with it and they head down ice. Poke check by Norris. Sends it to the far wall, but picked back up by Mounds. They chip it across the Brainerd blue line. Thompson picks it up over to Norris. Norris out to neutral zone for McDonald out of his reach, and puck ends up all the way down ice. Mounds sends it to the right corner. And up the middle. Center ice. Mounds by a poke check by Norris. And his puck picked up by Sweet across the blue line. Shot, pad save by Mounds goalie. Kick to the left side. Rebound picked up by Potvin. Loose puck in the slot. Out to Bates. Bates shot, hits traffic, and loose puck in the slot. Potvin battling for it and knocked off the puck. Looks like they're sending Potvin to the bench for a penalty, and puck will come all the way back down to the Brainerd end now. 4-on-4 for, I don't know, another minute. Now it looks like they're going to give Mounds a 5-on-4. I guess the other penalty's over. So Brainerd on the penalty kill. 3:30 left in the game. Mounds up high just inside the blue line. Shot covered by Turl for a whistle. Marsh on the face-off. Mounds wins it. Mounds tries to head towards the net. Stolen away by Marsh. Marsh gets it behind the net into the left corner. He falls down. Mounds sends the puck out to their left defenseman. Over to the right. He deeks past Marsh. Shot high and wide. Comes up the wall. Marsh picks up the loose puck in the left corner. Sends it up the near side for Paskey. Paskey pokes it forward. Paskey, center ice. In across the blue line to Stewart. Stewart, he's not able to get a shot off. And loose puck picked up by Mounds as they head back the other way. Mounds, center ice. To the left wing, up the middle. Shot deflected by Paskey. Marsh sends it out to neutral zone, turns it over to Mounds. They try to head back in, but Marsh steals it away. Pokes it forward across the blue line into the Mounds zone, but Brainerd offsides. 2 minutes left. Bible on the face-off with Dahlheimer Henson. Bible to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer pokes at it, but turns it over to Mounds. Mounds heads back the other way. Past Norris down the right side wall. And Bible angles him off. Norris scoops it forward. Sent back to the right side. Dahlheimer picks it up and carries it out to the point across the blue line. Bible to Henson. Henson across the blue line, up the middle, and he's tied up, stolen away. Loose puck, Henson towards the net, shot off the right post. And loose puck behind the net. Mounds sweeps it up towards the left corner. And out to center ice. The puck goes all the way down ice on goal. Turl holds it for Thompson. Thompson sends it up the wall into the hands of the Mounds player. They walk down the wall, centering pass, picked up by Henson. Henson skates it out of the Brainerd zone. Henson up the right side, poked off his stick before he crosses the blue line. Mounds heads back the other way. They cut towards the middle, shot just inside the blue line. Blocker saved by Turl. Rebound picked up by Thompson in the left corner. Poked off his stick. Mounds heads back the other way. Tries centering pass. Turl pokes at it and covers it for a whistle. That is probably going to be it for the game / scrimmage. As the clock counts down and 7 seconds left. Sure what they're doing now. They're doing another face-off. I guess they got a few more minutes left. They can burn on the ice time. Face-off in the Brainerd zone, left wing circle. Pops towards the slot, picked up by McDonald up the wall towards base, and intercepted. Mounds puts it through the slot. Nobody gets a stick on it. Ends up on the right side wall. Shot towards the slot again, picked up by Paskey. He tries to head out, poked off his stick. Loose puck in the middle of the zone. Shot on goal, pad save by Churl. Bates sweeps the rebound up the left side wall. It's kept in by the left D. Shot by the left D on goal, covered by Churl for a whistle. Face off in the Brainerd zone again, left wing circle. Marsh with Hotman, Stewart, Norris, and Thompson. Stewart across the blue line, tips it forward for Potman. Potman in on the right side, he's got a little room. It's poked off his stick just before he could settle the puck. Loose puck behind the net. Potman tying it up behind the net. Mounds comes away with it. And up the near side boards, they skate it out. Mounds cut towards the middle across the blue line. Nice poke by Thompson. Mounds picks up the loose puck on the left side wall. Centering pass tipped away by Norris. And the whistle at the end of the game. Brainerd wins 4-0 in this scrimmage.